Season 1 has given us new characters, new storylines and some old storylines, but we are finally at the season close with the finale approaching. And in this video I'm talking all things about the episode 10 season finale of Power Book 2 Ghost and what we can expect. So welcome back to MovieBot. Let's talk about Power Book 2 Ghost season finale. So I hope you're having a great morning, and the end of Power Book 2 Ghost Season 1 is finally here. It's been a strange season in the terms of the mid-season break with COVID complicating things, but this season as a whole has been a great one. I'll be honest and say it did start slow, but it was expected because you have to think it was a new show, although it was a continuation from Season 6 of Power. But now following Tariq in college and with the introduction of new characters like Monet, Kane, Diana, Drew and Lauren, etc. And as we go into Season 2, I do think Season 2 will dive deep into characters, character development, we'll learn about the past of a few characters, backstories, and no doubt it will get better. But there's plenty of time to talk about Season 2 after the season finale, so now I want to talk about what we can expect, some predictions for Episode 10, and let's start with the episode description and then go from there. But this episode description reads, desperate, Tariq will do whatever it takes to clear his mother, but knowing he's not in the clear with Monet, Tariq's backed against the wall trying to keep his promise to get Tasha out of prison as Saxe aims to finally get a St. Patrick behind bars. Tasha questions Davis's tactics, worried his defense has put her family directly in crosshairs. Monet is on a mission to put things back in their place since Rico's assault on her organization and family, but Kane has plans of his own. So that's the episode description for episode 10, and that's what's going to be the main focus point of this video. And let's start with arguably the biggest storyline, which is Tariq taking the stand, because this storyline is a continuation from the original Power series, and I do think it will finally come to a close by the end of the episode, or maybe sooner I hope, so we can see the aftermath of whatever the outcome is after Tasha's court case. But Tariq is going to be taking the stand after he admitted to killing Ghost to Tamika, but what exactly is he going to say? He's desperate and he'll do whatever it takes to protect his mother Tasha, and that's clear. When Tasha managed to get the message to Tariq through Paula about treating Epiphany, just like they did with Slim who was Kanan, he was ready. We were about to see Tariq unleash the inner ghost until he made a move just like his father would. He paid her to leave instead of killing them, a move Ghost pulled a couple of times with Holly and Maria Suarez. Now Tariq's back is really going to be up against the wall in this episode, but I think he'll confess without confessing, if you know what I mean. Similarly to the way he gave his eulogy at his father's funeral, Tariq is very clever and chooses his words very wisely, and he still has a few plays up his sleeve, knowing that Saxe was there at Truth at the time of the murder, knowing that he's had Riley spying on him, and the fact that Riley made the really naive play in drugging Tariq, which was meant for Brayden, but now Tariq can use this in court. And there's also the small matter of a few others who would love to see Saxe go down, and that's Tamika, Blanca Rodriguez and Jacob Werner. Saxe has been busy building a list of enemies within the justice system himself over the course of Power, and is he finally going to put a St. Patrick behind bars for good, or is this whole case going to be flipped upside down with what Tariq says on the stand? I'm interested to see how Davis McLean also plays this now with the deal with Saxe now out the window, and he's now lost Paula, who's been by his side throughout all his victories, and his undefeated record is well and truly on the line, because although I can't see Tariq going down for Ghost murder, I can see a situation where Tasha still ends up staying behind bars, and that's a defeat for Davis McLean. But you guys know my prediction already, and the way it's played out, it's tough not to see Saxe getting pinned and go down. But this is the fun thing about Power, when you think you've sussed it out and you think you know, Power always seems to have a twist or something we didn't see coming. But drop me your predictions for Tasha's case, the outcome, what you think Tariq will say on the stand, and could we see anyone else return? For example, could we see Ramona return for the final episode, make an appearance, and do you think Saxe will go down? Drop me your predictions on Tariq taking the stand. But sticking with Tariq, let's move on and talk about Tariq and Monet and the next part of the episode description, which is him knowing that he's not in the clear with Monet. And I'm going to talk a little about 2-Bit here as well, because even though he's not mentioned, I still think he's worth mentioning in this section of the video, because Tariq isn't in the clear with Monet because he still owes her money. The money that he used to make Epiphany disappear was the money that he should have given to Monet, and there's a small matter of 2-Bit who's constantly chasing Tariq for money, and he was after 50k in the last episode, which we didn't see play out, which I think we may do in the finale. I do think we'll see 2-Bit again, and this is why Tariq's back is really going to be up against the wall. On one hand, he has the problem knowing that he's just about to take the stand. On the other hand, he has the problem of owing Monet and 2-Bit money on top of all the schoolwork and the heat currently at Stansfield. So Tariq is going to have some real pressure coming in from all directions in this episode, and this is when I do believe we'll see the transformation from Tariq in the very first episode to Tariq in the last episode of the season. And the picture that I made reference to was the one on the first day in court in his red tracksuit, to his last, but this time in a red suit, ghost-like. But let's move on and talk about Monet trying to gain a little bit of control back because she lost a lot in the last episode. She's already lost Kane, she's then lost Drew to the gunshot wound. Although he is going to make it, he's not dying, not just yet anyway, because Courtney Kemp confirmed that him being shot will change Monet and Drew, so I expect them to play a major role in season 2. But Monet has a real problem on her hands with no Drew, no Kane, Lorenzo being in prison, and Ramirez being killed. And then there's a small matter of losing her supplier Rico to Lil Guap. And I really don't know where she goes from here and how she manages to claw her relationships back and claw her business back. But one thing she does need to do, she needs to make an amends with Kane ASAP, because the more they are at each other's throats, the more this situation spirals out of control, because Kane's out for himself right now, and it's because Monet is not accepting Kane back. I do think if Monet does accept Kane back, she can put him back in line, but she needs to be smart about it. But there is always going to be that trust issue there between Monet and Kane. Now, one thing Monet does need to do is go and talk this out with Lorenzo, and can he put things back into place? In the episode 10 teaser, we hear Monet telling Lorenzo that he's the problem, with Lorenzo replying, well, now he's the solution. So we can only assume they're talking about Kane, and Lorenzo now knows that Kane is the answer to their problems. This is something I spoke about over the last week or so with Kane and the TARDIS, because there has to come to a point where Monet will tell him that she needs him, because she does. There's no doubt she needs him right now. But Kane, he's out for himself, and in this episode he has plans of his own according to the episode description, and Kane has to tread carefully after Lil Guap's little move in the last episode by acting on the information that Sylvia gave him after overhearing Drew and Kane's conversation, which of course resulted in Lil Guap approaching Rico and becoming his New York distro instead of Monet and the TARDIS. And will Kane continue to work with Lil Guap, because these two at some point will clash? Lil Guap and the GTG crew will take eye for an eye to the grave, and the GTG boys that Kane killed won't have been forgotten by Guap, and he should have been dead a long time ago. Kane didn't hesitate in killing Ramirez because he knew that Ramirez was no longer by his side. He didn't kill Guap because he had him on his side. He could control him, or he thought he could control him. And Guap himself, he seriously is cat-like with 9 lives because he should have been dead a long time ago, but I do see him meeting his death in the final episode of season 1. But I definitely don't think Kane will die in this episode because it's just way too soon for a character like Kane to go. He has just so much more to give, but him continuously acting on rage and emotion is seriously going to get one of the TARDIS killed sooner or later. So that's the episode description broken down, and there's still a few other storylines that we'll see play out in the episode being an hour and 9 minutes long. We'll see the Zeke and Carrie storyline. I'm sure we'll see Jabari, although I don't expect his storyline of him stealing Tariq's work to play to its conclusion in the finale. There's the BMW scene. We'll find out who's in the BMW. Is it Tommy? Is it Sax? Could it even be Brayden or Trace? But the main question is, why are they running from the cops? And could we see Rico and his boys again in the final episode? There's a lot that's going to be played out, and I'm glad this episode is a little longer, and it's going to be an epic episode whatever the outcomes are from the various storylines, and no doubt they leave it on a little cliffhanger as we move on to season 2 or book 2. So drop me all of your predictions for episode 10 season finale. Drop me your predictions and comments all on Tariq taking the stand, Monet's situation with Kane, 2-Bit and everybody else. And I'll be back tomorrow bright and early for the review and recap. So remember to have your notification bells turned on. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.